Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm live. We're in the studio. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Going to be talking about Manchester United and Erik ten Hag. It feels like deja vu all over again, innit? It feels like this manager is under fresh pressure. Now, listen, we're going to get into the game against FC Twente. We're going to get into the press conference, some of the comments, some of the fallout from those comments, the reaction from the comments the manager made and Christian Eriksen as well. And I want you guys to get involved in the chat and let us know your thoughts. Now, drawing at home to FC Twente in a Europa League game isn't going to cost you your job, right? Let's not be silly about it. Yeah, that's not going to be like, well, that's it. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. But it's a series of disappointing results that when you look back, if a manager does end up getting sacked, you go, well, that was one of them. That was another one. That was another one. And they are sort of building up a little bit for Erik ten Hag. A little bit, that's an understatement. I think Erik ten Hag now has had probably too many underwhelming results to be completely safe in his job. And I think this game against Spurs, I said this the other day on the preview for the FC Twente game, the game against Spurs for me is huge. It really is. Because that is a game where I just feel like there's no excuses. Hit the like button. I'll get into some of the comments and then we're going to go through the press conference. We've got some clips from the press conference. So we're going to go into that. And then we're going to go into some of the comments that have been doing the rounds as well this morning. So loads of people are in the chat. Make sure you are hitting that like button, please, people. Smash a like. Ryan Pitt is there. The Buttery Biscuit Base says, good morning. Spurs has to be the turning point. Ten Hag will need his end game for the foreseeable future if he's going to avoid being axed. I agree. Akash K's in the chat as well. Mick Wilhun says, woof woof, I'm sad. Kevin H is here, says, morning Jay, keep the faith, everyone, and ignore the BS. Okay, I get it. Thomas Cumberton says, forward's not good enough, all huff and no puff. Mark Collins said, sack him. What formation was that last night? It was chaos. Sid the Whistle says, morning Jay, it's less than a year since the banner at Fulham. Was that the show as you mean it or whatever it was? I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but yeah, there was that sort of play like you mean it or whatever it was. You know the banner that he's on about. Yeah, I get your point there. Right, so we have a little look. I think we've got a clip from the press conference last night. This is Erik ten Hag, I think, and he's talking about why Manchester United failed to beat FC Twente. I think we've got a clip here.
Yes, you saw it, and it was the game of their life. They fought for every yard, and yeah, we didn't. And yeah, 99% is not enough. You have to give 100%. You have to kill the game. You have to finish it off. And we are leading 1-0. And then there's coming an atmosphere in the team. We bring the game till the end, but you have to go for the second goal. And then you kill the game.
Now, he's basically, well, you heard the clip. You know, they fought for every yard and we didn't. And 99% is not good enough. You have to give 100%. You have to kill the game. You have to finish it off. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know if it was an effort thing that was the issue last night. I don't particularly think it was like they just wanted it more. And I always find these kind of arguments a little bit reductive and also, yeah, reductive and simplistic. It's like, oh, they just wanted it more. That's why they won. We didn't have the desire. We didn't have the passion. And I just think it's a little bit deeper than that. I don't actually think that was the issue. I didn't think United, for me, played like they didn't want to try and win or they weren't putting in a maximum amount of effort. I think there was a bit more than that. I think at times we just didn't look like we were sort of carving out the right chances. Some of our decision-making in the final third wasn't quite there. I think that was a bigger problem. I think when you look, there was times when United had it was like a situation where you'd have an extra man and we didn't make the most of it. Or we'd get someone to break through the middle and there was options on the out wide and we wouldn't take them. So I think it's not just about, yes, that comes into it, that whole energy and effort and desire and enthusiasm. I get that. There is always going to be an element of that in every single football match when you get a result that's not good enough. You look back and you go, okay, did we give as much effort as we can? But I don't think it is just out of that. I think there's a little bit more than just they wanted it more. I think you have to look at some of the sort of the lack of cohesion at times. There's no excuse for me in giving the ball away the way we did. Was that desire? Was that desire that cost us that goal? Also not taking some of those chances. Also some of the, like I said there, some of the passes and the decisions that we made in the final third. Was that just desire? I'm not so sure it was. I think at times there was just a little bit of lack of quality from Manchester United. And I don't think that is just because we couldn't be bothered. Let me know what you think, because there's a multitude of reasons why Manchester United didn't win last night, and I want to hear what your thoughts are. Danny Sabath says Bruno needs to be dropped. Now, I did a video, I spoke about Bruno Fernandes, I think it was earlier this week, and I said, after the Crystal Palace game, people were questioning Bruno Fernandes. People looking at the fact he gave the ball away 34 times during that game. And in comparison, I think Christian Eriksen gave it away 17 times. I know he wasn't on the pitch as long as Bruno, and Kobbie Mainoo 10. And is that good enough? Can you sustain that? I think his pass completion was around 73%. For a player the quality of Bruno Fernandes, you can't say that's okay. He's got to be a little bit better than that. Now, the sort of counter-argument is, well, Bruno always tries to make things happen. He tries that riskier pass, and invariably it comes off for him because his assists and his big chance created are amongst the top in Europe. But he also is giving the ball away a lot in passes that aren't trying to make something happen, that aren't always trying to play someone in and create a big chance. Sometimes it's the simpler passes that aren't quite coming off. And it has been a bit of an issue this season for Bruno Fernandes. Now, before anyone starts, I love Bruno Fernandes. I think he's been a breath of fresh air, and he's our best signing post-Sir Alex Ferguson. So it's not like I'm a Bruno hater, but there is a genuine reason to question some of his performances this season, because they haven't been anywhere near the high standard that he has set. So I understand why people are looking at Bruno Fernandes and saying, what is going on with him? Why is he not quite playing as well as he can do? I don't think that's overly critical, and I don't think it's overly soft on him either. KC says, did FC Twente really want it though? The only time I think they did was when they scored. Again, I don't think it is just a desire thing. Hit that like button, please, people. Let's get to 200 likes. You watching, hit the like. Mick Holohan says, man, I have to pray after some of the results we've been having. Play Xerxes or Bruno, not both. Andy Williams says he can stick his average process. He's turned 2 wins in seven, the norm. The record isn't great in the amount of wins. Is it 1 win in 9 in Europe or something? I can't remember the stats. They're not great. L. Johnson says, Jay, the shine of your cranium is reaching me here in New Zealand, praise be. I did a quiz this morning on the radio, and the first question, right, it was Mastermind for that there BBC Radio Manchester, and the first question on general knowledge was the capital of New Zealand. And I said capital N, so I was right. Let's look at the next clip we've got. It's, I think it's this Eriksen again, talking about lack of goals and why we're not scoring.
We have to score, but it's not only up to them 2 players. And definitely in this moment not on Rasmus, because he's just returning, but also other players. We have across the front line, we have there enough players who can score goals with Bruno, with Resi, with Garnacho, with Amad Diallo, all goal-scoring players. Yeah,
I mean, he's saying what we all know there about we've got to score. And we do have players that can score goals. But we're not doing really, are we? And I think it's weird because we had this wonderful week, didn't we, where we scored 3 against Southampton and 7 against Barnsley, and it was all wonderful and happy, and everyone's scoring, Garnacho scoring, and Marcus Rashford scoring, and Eriksen scoring, and, everything's rosy. And then the game against Crystal Palace kind of killed that, and I think last night has as well. And now we're looking at our strikers and our forwards going, what's going on? Why are we not scoring? Why are we creating chances but we're not putting them in the back of the net? Now, the problem you've got is you've got players that have historically been somewhat erratic in front of goals. Joshua Xerxes, top scorer for Bologna last season, but he's not prolific. I think it was 12 goals in Serie A. Rasmus Højlund, when he comes out, and I'm not going to blame Højlund, he only played a bit of a cameo last night, but again, was it 11 goals in when he was at Atalanta in Serie A? Comes to Manchester United, I think it's 16, was it, in all competitions? But then he had that 15 game spell, I think was it 14 games, where he didn't score in the Premier League. So you've got players, Marcus Rashford, very much a boom or bust attacker. You've had seasons where he scored 30 goals, you've had seasons where I think he scored 8. So you've got these players that are capable of scoring, but they're not consistently prolific. Now, in an ideal world, they dovetail with each other. So when Marcus is going through a barren spell, Xerxes or Højlund will step up. When those are going through a barren spell, Marcus will step up. Well, not even a barren spell, where they're not scoring in a game, Marcus would, or Garnacho would, or Diallo would, or Bruno would. But we're not having that in a minute. Now, this is a concern. It's a problem that Eriksen has got to fix. And again, it's all well and good saying we have to score, but it's not up to the players. It's up to just the 2 front players. It's up to everyone. They're all goal-scoring players. Yes, they are. but they're not scoring consistently, and it's costing Manchester United, and you've got to fix that. That is your job as a manager, and you've got to fix it quick. I don't like being sort of fatalistic or melodramatic and saying last chance, which is what we had on the thumbnail. This is a must-win game. You have to win. But I look historically at Manchester United. I look at the way results have gone and when managers have been sacked, and this is how it's happened. When you look at two in particular who were given a third full season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or went into a third full season, no, they didn't fulfil it, and Jose Mourinho. Now, they went into that third season and people had, confidence in them. Jose had finished second. The season before, Hazard Ole, let's not forget. There was a reason to think, okay, everything's going to be all right. Yeah, you had results that sort of started getting away from you. And it wasn't just one result, but when they all added up, there was moments where you thought, this isn't happening for this manager. And I remember, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for me, I think it was the Everton game. We drew with Everton. Now, drawing with Everton isn't the end of the world. It's not exactly a good result. But he dropped Cristiano Ronaldo for Anthony Martial. I think we took the lead and then we ended up drawing, which is a deflating result against an Everton side that was struggling. There was rumours and reports that Ronaldo wasn't happy about being dropped, obviously. There was that little bit of footage. Remember when Fergie said you don't drop your best players? And it felt like, at that point for me, I remember looking at that going, I don't think this is going to have a happy ending with Ole. It felt different. And then I think after that was the 5-0 loss at home to Liverpool, then the 2-0 loss at home to City, and the wheels had well and truly come off. With Jose, that was with Ole, sorry. With Jose, there was the end of his first season, or 2/3 of the way through his second season, the Sevilla loss at Old Trafford felt bad. It felt like that was a moment because he said, we weren't going to win the Champions League anyway. And I thought, that's not how a Manchester United manager should be talking. And then you went into the next season, and obviously we got battered at home off Spurs. I think we lost away at West Ham. The Liverpool game was the final nail in the coffin, but those results leading up to that sort of were edging him out the door. And I just worry with some of these results, is this sort of pushing Erik ten Hag out the door? Because for me, Erik ten Hag is already under pressure anyway, because I've never bought into this idea that interviewing other managers was a sign that we backed him, because we interviewed him and we stuck with him. If you're happy with a manager, you don't interview others. You just don't. Arsenal won't be interviewing other managers now. City aren't interviewing managers because they're happy with the manager they've got. I don't remember Manchester United frequently interviewing other managers when Fergie was in charge. So when you start looking at other managers, there's a reason for that, and it's because you're not 100% confident in the manager you've got. And let's not forget, the hierarchy at Manchester United have changed everything, including the hierarchy. Like, you've got a new director of football, a new sporting director, you've got new coaches. You've had Benny McCarthy go, Steve McLaren go. You've had Ruud van Nistelrooy coming in, Rennie Hacker coming in. Jason Wilcox came in the back end of last season. Dan Ashworth's coming in, a new CEO in Omar Brada. Everything has changed except the manager. You're not going to change the coaching staff now. You're not going to change the CEO. Well, you wouldn't do that anyway, but you're not going to change any of the people above Erik ten Hag or the people below him. And also in signings, you're not going to sign anyone because the window's shut. So the only change you can realistically make is the manager. And this is why I think Erik ten Hag is in serious, serious trouble. I do. And I've backed this manager, and I still back him. I'm not saying I want him sacked, but for me, this Spurs game is huge. It really is. Let me know what you think. BMW Racing 1974 says, I honestly want ten Hag to succeed, but I think he's gone before Christmas. Ryan Milligan says, why do people still mention Ronaldo? He was SHIT that season, wasn't Prem level anymore. I'm mentioning him in the context of when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saw the door. YouTube says, Ryan Giggs impresses me more than Ronaldo because Giggs somehow adapted when he became slower. Right, I think we're going into we're going down a Cristiano Ronaldo shaped hole in a minute. Gingerbread says, egg ten Hag out, get Unai Emery in ASAP. Would he come? Would Unai Emery leave Villa, who are in the Champions League, to come? I know Manchester United are a much bigger club than Aston Villa. Let's not be stupid about it. But would he leave? I don't know. I think we've got another clip, actually, from the presser last night. Talking about ambition. Let's listen to this one.
We are very ambitious. And when you have that ambition, then you have to perform. Then you have to prove that point. And today, especially the second half, I think we were too easygoing, too complacent. And we didn't bring it over the line, and as a team you have to deliver this.
He talks a little bit about complacency there, and I know you might say, well, complacency and effort are almost the same thing. I understand this a little bit more than just they wanted it more. I think there was a feeling that we'll be okay. And I don't know, maybe it was just from the. I was in the stand last night, and I was still thinking, all right, we're creating chances. We'll get a goal there, and we're all right. Especially when 1-0 up, I thought we were okay. I thought we were pretty much cruising. So maybe he has a point now of a little bit of complacency. But the issue with all these points he's making is, whilst you might agree with some of them, you might disagree with him, whatever. This is a manager now who's been in the job a little while. In Premier League terms, he's ancient. He's been here for over 2 seasons. He's more or less assembled a squad that is his. Like most of those players that were playing last night are players that have been brought in under him. So he's got to take the responsibility here. He really has. Let me know. Get involved in the chat and the comments. I want to almost make this a little bit like a review. I know you did the review last night, but I want people to tell me what they think. I want you to tell me what you think of the manager's comments as well. Because he's sort of defending himself yet criticising the team, which is a difficult thing to do. Because you can't just come out and say, I'm rubbish, I don't know what I'm doing. But you can't come out and say everything's amazing, it's wonderful, and I'm the best manager you've ever seen. I think you've got to get that balance of saying, okay, this isn't good enough, this why isn't good enough, this is why I can fix it. That's got to come across in a press conference, which isn't always easy to do. I want to know what you guys think, because I've seen a lot of negativity towards Erik ten Hag post the FC Twente game. I saw a bit of it against Palace. The sort of the flip side to that coin was the performance was good, but the ball just wasn't going in the goal for Manchester United. The ball wasn't going in the goal. We just didn't score, but I think the performance was better. But you can't keep using that excuse. And I think FC Twente at home, for me, is a banker. It is. That is a game where you go, FC Twente at home, yeah, we'll win that. Especially when you see the team we put out. That was a strong team. That midfield was a strong midfield. Bruno, Eriksen and Ugarte. The defence, it's other than Maguire for Gullit, it's your strongest defence. Your first choice goalkeeper. That front three is, there's a good chance that could be the front three that starts against Spurs. So we can't look at it and go, it's a heavily weakened team. And I don't even think you can blame injuries. You can't blame injuries. Every team has injuries. And I know Manchester United and Eriksen, especially last season, had an horrendous injury record. But the minute you're missing like 1 or 2 players, it's not that deep. It's pretty average for injuries. Most clubs are missing 1 or 2 players, and so are we. Yes, it's frustrating that we're missing an out-and-out left-back, but that's not the issue for me. That isn't. Let me know what you think. HMJ11 says, Ugarte doesn't have a first touch, can't control the ball, can't pass, waste of money. Akash K says, Jay, come on, we could have scored 3 last night, and this morning's conversation becomes very different. Yeah, but we didn't. And it's all right, so we could have. But we're going to be cut off FC. That's my problem. There's only so far that'll get you. If we're having this same conversation, right, let me ask you this, against Spurs, after the Spurs game, let's say we have a load of chances against Spurs, and we don't take any of them, and Spurs take theirs and score and win 1-0. Are we going to be saying, we could have scored? No. You have to get results. As a Manchester United manager, whether you like the manager or not, you have to get wins. It's not rocket science. It's that simple. And you can point at the fact we're creating chances, but we're not scoring them. And that worries me. And against an FC Twente team that's massively beatable. We're not in the Champions League here. This wasn't Real Madrid at home last night. Let's not kid ourselves, right? This is a team that we should be beating. And it is deflating, especially when you take the lead. Maybe you could look at it differently. If we'd have conceded and then rallied and then got an equaliser. But we didn't. We took the lead, we were cruising, and we made a mistake, and then we let them back in the game, and then we couldn't get a winner. And that, to me, is not good enough. And I think you have to be honest about that. You can say it's not good enough without saying you want the manager sacked. I don't want the manager sacked. And here's the thing. I fully believe we will beat Spurs. I think we will, and I think we've got to. And I think we've got to at least not lose. I think if we lose to Spurs, even draw, I think he's going to be in trouble. If we lose to Spurs, I think he's gone. But I don't think we will. Let me know what you think. Manish Bandari says, Jay, I hope we win the next 3 games before the international break, but if we don't, do you think Erik ten Hag would have established a style of play before he sacked? We'll have to see how these games pan out. It's difficult. The whole style of play thing, the thing that I sort of confuses me a little bit with the style of play argument, I understand it, but no one really cared in that first season about style of play. And each game was different. I don't think there was a set style of play when we were beating Barcelona, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. That Liverpool game at Old Trafford, after we lost the first 2 games, we were hitting it long most of the game. David De Gea was hoofing it. And yet in other games, we were trying to play out from the back. So it was like the style of play was a bit of a mixture, but no one really cared because when you're getting results, people don't go, oh my God, what's the style of play if you've just beaten Arsenal? or if you've just beaten Barcelona, or if you've just beaten Manchester City, or if you've just beaten Liverpool. It's when you're not winning that people go, actually, what's the style of play? And that's the issue that Eric Ten Hag's got. It's people can't identify style, and we're not winning football matches. You have to win. Otherwise, you're going to get these questions. Because I remember watching Sir Alex Ferguson, and his teams had different styles in different games, even within a season. Different teams in different eras had different styles under Fergie, but there's also times when we mixed it up during the season. So I remember seeing the De Silva brothers as wing backs against Arsenal. How often did he do that? That was a bit of a one-off. There was times when we just went for it. We had like almost 4 attackers on the pitch. The times when that 4-4-2 became 4-2-4. Times when he went to 4-3-3. Times when we had 5 at the back. He changed it a lot, Fergie. He was very good at changing it when he needed to. I think the trouble you got with Eric Ten Hag is he's not changing it when he needs to in a way that's affecting games the way he wants them to. Christian Eriksen, we'll talk about him. He got the goal. Obviously, he was at fault for the equaliser as well. He said here, speaking after the match at TNT, you can see it. It's disappointed. We wanted him more in the end, but it wasn't good enough. They looked like they wanted him more than us, and that can't be right. That was said in the dressing room. Personally, you score and think you're going to be a match winner, and then it goes the other way. We didn't lose. Sorry, go back down. I wasn't finished. We didn't lose, but it feels like a loss. It does feel like a loss. But then you've got this from Karen Carney and Owen Hargreaves. It was interesting what he said about them wanting it more. Obviously, you can't have that. So. Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one there. Christian Eriksen, he's being honest, and he's giving what he thinks is the reason behind the I keep saying defeat, behind the draw. Do you agree? I'm not buying into the whole they wanted it more. Miles says Fergie has 5 seasons to fix up, but the thing with Fergie is once he got to that FA Cup in 1990, then it was progression, and it was pretty quick progression. We went from finishing 11th, I think, or 13th and winning the FA Cup to winning the European Cup Winners' Cup, which is obviously the greatest achievement in the history of football, to finishing second, to finishing first, and away you go. So you could see us moving forward once he got to that FA Cup win. That was it then. We were off. I think that's the issue that some people are going to have here at Ten Hag. We have to have a big improvement on last season. Ronnie on the channel always says, you can improve on last season and finish 7th. Is that going to be good enough? No. You have to have a big improvement this season. That's my issue. Hubert Sustak says, Jay, morning. Just did my 10K. Cheers from New York City. Finally catch you live. We did a 10K when we were in New York. Me, Macca, Joe, Ethan, round Central Park. It was mint. I absolutely loved it. Altered Shape says, Eric Ten Hag is not on the pitch. He's not, but he's put the players that are on the pitch there. So managers are going to get criticised. Should we have something to cheer about? Because I'm feeling clinically depressed. Let's talk about Mainoo and Amad Diallo, 2 of my favourite young players. Apparently they're going to get new contracts. Give it in before they change their mind. I love Kobbie Mainoo. I love Amad Diallo. You want them to see him get a new deal. So, yeah, that'd be a great one to see. Hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. I don't think either of them are going anywhere. I don't think they're going to sign for anyone else. I hope we don't throw too much money at him, because in the past we have given players big deals that are probably more than what they should be on. I think that can upset the apple cart. But Kobbie Mainoo, I can't say enough good things about him. And Amad Diallo, he's getting a bit of stick lately, Amad Diallo, but I love him. Heaven Soul says style of play is a SHIT buzzword, utter modern day woke nonsense. David Alejandro Juarez says this is repercussions from years of mismanagement and poor decision making. Sorry, Ronaldo Brown, did you just come to get biscuits?
Yeah.
Right, Ronaldo Brown's just come here, right, in the middle of my news, right? I thought he must be getting something important, right? I thought he probably needs his keys, his car keys, or his phone. He's just come to get some custard creams off camera. That's what he was getting. This is what I'm up against, people. Do you know what I mean? It's no wonder I've got no hair. Talk about the Carabao Cup draw, yeah? All eyes on the Carabao. That's the competition that matters. Manchester United have got a home draw for once. Great. Has the money gone out of my account yet? It probably has. We've got Leicester City at home. Yeah, 2 Premier League winning teams there. Manchester United versus Leicester. Yeah, nice one. I mean, there's no excuse there, really, is there? I keep saying there's no excuse. We'll probably lose. Joking, I'm too defeatist. The Carabao Cup, right? I think you need to start doing well in that, son, or you need to keep doing well in it. I think that could be one way you can at least go, look, we're in the cup competitions, we're in the Carabao. You can win a Carabao Cup in February, don't forget, and that can give you a bit of breathing space. I can't believe we're in September and I'm already talking about the Carabao Cup as offering salvation to the manager. What is going on? David Alejandro Juarez says, or is it Juarez or Juarez, says, long-time fan of the channel. YouTube says sausage almost sounds like a term of endearment. Have you been listening to the Labour Party conference? Brian Casey says, Jay. When people start the sentence with Jay and then a full stop. Our finishing is the only thing that needs work. There was so much to improve on last season. Always got to be difficult to improve everything in one minute. It's not our only thing that needs improving on, bro. It's not. Don't kid yourself, right? Yes, our finishing is a massive thing that needs improving. But look at the last 2 games at Old Trafford. We've given the ball away and conceded goals because of sloppiness in midfield. So let's not just pretend it's only our finishing that needs addressing. Yeah? We need to work on other areas as well. The finishing is the most important thing and the biggest one that needs addressing. But, 4 goals conceded in the last 2 games because of mistakes in midfield? That needs addressing. You can't just ignore that, man. What else have we got? What's this rubbish I'm seeing? Eddie Howe to United. Right, so this is from Gimme Sport, and it says here, Manchester United owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe reportedly sees Howe, who's been described as incredible, as a manager who ticks a lot of boxes, and he's full of admiration for the former Bournemouth boss for his recent Premier League work. The Old Trafford outfit is set to continue monitoring the Newcastle boss throughout the season, despite opting to stick with Ten Hag during the summer after conducting a long internal review at the end of last term. No, not for me. That's my thoughts on Eddie Howe to Manchester United. You may disagree. Get involved in the chat in the comments and hit that like button, please, people. Jay says, don't want Euro playing under this setup. The next year can make or break his career. Injury excuses are gone, and we're sat here asking questions on what the issue, when it's quite obvious, unfortunately. Right? He doesn't even want to see Euro being brought into this team. Fair enough. Hit that like button, please, people. Ruud Gullit's been getting involved. What's he got to say for himself? I'm just having a look. Oh yeah, he's mocking him here. Speaking on Dutch TV over images of Ten Hag walking off at the final whistle, Gullit said jokingly, yeah, but it's a process. A lot of United fans are saying that. Sorry, that's my Ring doorbell notification going off there. Fantastic, yeah. I'll just rush home. He added, I am not surprised by the football Manchester United showed tonight. Why not? Because we are used to it by now. How many millions did Erik ten Hag invest in this team again, or in his team again? Look, listen, I could care less what Ruud Gullit has to say about anything, but he's not the only one who's going to be criticising Erik ten Hag. Manchester United fans are criticising Erik ten Hag. Rival fans are mocking and criticising Erik ten Hag. Pundits are criticising Erik ten Hag. The media are criticising Erik ten Hag. There's only one way to solve that and to silence the critics, and that is to win football matches. I know it's obvious, but it might need saying. This whole argument about style of play, this whole argument about chances, this whole argument about desire, this whole argument about whether it should be Xerxes or Højlund or Marcus or Garnacho or Diallo or Mount or whoever, it's all redundant if you win football matches. You have to put points on the board, you have to win games, and we're not winning enough of them. And you can make excuses, you can say, listen, we're not converting our chances, we've had more possession, we've been a better team, all that stuff. But ultimately, as Manchester United manager, you will live and die by results. You have to get results. And there is no better opportunity to get a result than Spurs at home this weekend. That is, for me, almost a banker. That's the sort of game you look at and you go, if you want a game to play when you need to rally the troops, when you need to get confidence built, when you need to prove to everyone you're the right man for the job, that is Spurs at home. Historically, Manchester United have had a very good record against Spurs. Remember Fergie, his team talk? Roy Keane said his team talk against Spurs was, lads, it's Tottenham. That was all they needed to hear. Spurs are a team that are beatable. They are. Their record back end of last season, beginning this season, isn't great. It isn't. They're capable of losing matches. They are losing football matches. They like to play sort of this expansive high line and push forward. Manchester United should be able to deal with that, and we should be able to beat Spurs. And if we don't, if Ange Postecoglou comes to Old Trafford and beats Erik ten Hag is in serious trouble. He's already in a bit of trouble, but I think there's no excuses after that one. However, I do think we'll beat Spurs. I do, but I think he's got to. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the comments and the chat. And also, does that change anything for you? Have you got to the point now where you're like, I don't think this guy's the one? I haven't. Have you? I'm interested to hear what everyone's got to say. How much time do you want to give, says Andrew. The Buttery Biscuit Base says, lol, sometimes winning isn't enough for even some of our own. It might not be, but it's a start. Akash K, says Spurs high line makes them vulnerable. Ute Hube says it's been 3 years, not 3 months. Lag Arvulin Speak says, turning things around takes time. Instant gratification isn't the solution. Time and patience required. Give him time to implement his ideas and integrate. Prendro says, Jay, how's the weather today? Bit overcast, to be honest with you. It was raining this morning, I think. Spitting more than raining, but it's not too bad now. It's just a little bit grim. Andrew A says, everyone conveniently forgetting that the club has been practically on fire for every month Erik ten Hag has been here. It's a good point. Erik ten Hag, under pressure. Do you agree or not? We're going to be back later on today with Off the Bar. Me, Joe, Stephen Howson getting into all this, getting into Erik ten Hag, getting into what's going on at Manchester United Football Club, talking about Ugarte, talking about Xerxes, talking about there's some positives there, the positives to look at here, or is it all just negative? We'll get into that, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I've been Jay Moyer. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.